Hello YouTube, I am back. Yes, it's true, I am finally back and I am coming back with the Visual Studio tutorials. Today we're going to learn how to make a cookie clicker type game. First, I will show you what the end result is going to look like. A simple form with a button. Once you click, the cash value increments. And then you'll be able to buy things that make cash. Which as each second goes on, it adds the amount of cash per second. Alright, to begin, let's make a new project. Let's make a Windows Form application, and let's name it something like Cookie Clicker Clone. Great, so now that we have created our new form, obviously it looks bland. We haven't added any controls to it. So let's drag on a couple buttons, two labels, and that should be it. Oh, except we forgot one of the most important parts. We need to drag two timers onto here. Make sure enabled equals true for both of them. And for the second one, make the interval 1000. So that is equivalent to 1 second. While the other one is only 100, and that's equivalent to 1/10 of a second. Now let's drag our controls down a little bit. Take our button and expand it. And our second button we can also slightly expand. Now here you can change the text of the button. Or, as some people prefer, you can, let's find where it is. Find the flat style property. Set it to flat. Flat appearance. Border size 0. And you can add an image to it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to reset that to how it was. Now I'm going to change the text of button 1 to click me. Simple enough and straightforward. Let's change the text of button 2 to buy cash maker. Now let's click on the button 1 again, and let's change its name to BTN underscore click. So now we'll be able to easily access it. Let's also click on the second button and name that BTN CM for cash maker. You can also name each form differently depending on how you so choose. But just for the simplicity of this tutorial, I will do that. Alright. Now also change label 1 to LBL cash, and the second one to LBL CPS for cash per second. Now, first of all, let's double click on the form 1, make a little space, and now let's begin typing in our variables. Dim cash as decimal. Now the reason I chose decimal instead of integer is because sometimes when you're doing the cash per second, the cache ends up incrementing at decimal rates. So it will make it much simpler for Visual Studio to be able to handle it. Now, let's also do dim CPS as decimal. Nothing too complicated so far. Let's double click on here, on the button click, and now we type in cache is equal to cache plus 1. So this means that every time that we click on this button, the cache value will increase by 1. Alright, now let's double click on the timer 1, the one with the interval of 100. This is going to be our timer that frequently updates all the information. For this, we shall do... Oops, I forgot we changed it. Label cache is dot text is equal to cache dot toString, and LBL CPS is equal, I keep forgetting, dot text is equal to CPS dot toString. Now, if you're wondering what dot toString means, it basically means in order to bring the variable from a number form, you know, the binary and stuff, to make it more of an easier accessible form. Now, let's also just add equal to 0. And if you so choose, you can add apostrophes, add a plus after each apostrophe, and inside the apostrophe for label cache, let's just write cache colon space. And now for the second one, cache per second colon space. We're not done yet, but I'm just going to show what it looks like so far. So you have click me. Click it, cache goes up by 1. Straightforward. Now, we're going to have to deal with the second button now. But first, let's go back to our code, and inside timer1.tick, let's add oh, actually no, that's not timer 1, timer 2. And now let's add cache is equal to cache plus CPS. Great. So now, afterwards, we can add a new variable. It's called dim CM cost as integer. The cost won't have to be as a decimal. Okay, and now we can do button cm dot text is equal to by cache maker semicolon space plus cm cost dot toString. Let's change CM cost to an easy number. Let's say 10. Now, let's double click here. And CPS, CPS is equal to CPS plus CPS. That's a lot of CPS, but this will basically mean that overall the value of the cache per second is equal to cache per second plus cache per second. So basically, let's say cache per second equals 5. So the cache per second is equal to 5 plus 5, which means that now it's equal to 10. Click it again, 10 plus 10 plus 10, 20. So it increases. Second of all, now now we have to check that we have enough cache. So, if cache is equal to CM cost, then the button CM dot enabled equals true. And I already made a mistake here. Let's fix that. If it says if cache equals to CM cost, that means it'll only be enabled if our amount of cache is equal to the CM cost. If we need to add a greater than symbol, so if the cache is greater than or equal to the cost, then it'll be enabled. And it looks like we have an error here, or maybe we don't. Else button CM dot enabled equals false. End if, and it looks like mine forgot to add the end if, causing an error. Yours probably should have, though, created an end if. Now, also, let's add in the button click section. Let's add the cache is equal to cache minus CM cost, but be careful. Let's add that right before here, or else it'd be subtracting it by the double amount, and we don't want that. Alright, and now, wait. Oh, we forgot something important here. CPS. Wait. Let's see this code here. This doesn't look right. One second, let me figure out the problem, and I'll come. Alright guys, I see the problem here now. The problem was that we accidentally did the variable CPS, and that's the wrong variable. Instead, we need to change that to CM cost. And we need to add CPS is equal to CPS plus 0.5. Let's save, build, make sure we don't have any errors, and let's run. Let's see, we're clicking, we're almost at 10, and now that we're at 10, we can buy a cache maker. We buy it, the button automatically gets disabled, and we have cash per second now. So now we keep clicking. We have 20. We repeat the same thing, and now the cash per second is 1. Feel absolutely free to build onto this. Now this project was more of a beginner project, nothing too complicated other than the fact that a simple mess up might trigger something not too satisfying. Stay tuned, guys. I will be uploading more Visual Studio tutorials soon. Have a nice day.